Don't believe what you're seeing, folks, on the news when it comes to France and things are quieting down and they're going to get better. Because they're most likely not. Because there's a lot more going on than what many in the media are talking about. Yes, you have some issues with labor. You have some issues with, raising the retirement age, things like that. That's a little bit of frustration for sure. But it isn't why they're burning malls down. It isn't why you're seeing such tremendous violence. There is a jihad happening in France. There is a battle against Western Christian societies, folks. That's what's going on. That is the big energy behind this violence. All right. So it isn't, remember what we talk about. A lie is based off, a very, very good lie is based off of a truth. So yeah, it is true that people are frustrated about the labor issues. Yes. But the lie is that's why this is happening, all this violence. Absolutely not. These people that have been allowed to come across the border for years now, those chickens are coming home to roost now, as they say. Those people who do not believe in the Western culture are infiltrating, becoming sleeper cells, and then reacting when they're told to react. They're communicating with each other and they go out. Very similar to Antifa and what they do and Black Lives Matter and all that stuff that was obviously terrorist groups. Internal in the United States. That is why we take an oath, those of us who've taken an oath to defend this country against foreign and domestic. But let me tell you why this is happening, in my opinion. It's the same if you go all the way back to how evil works and how the enemy works. And let's just go to the Iraq war scenario. I remember when friends of mine were sent to over there to defend the oil fields, okay? And that was their job, to defend the burning oil fields and put the fires out and all that kind of stuff. And they were sent over there with Humvees that had basically canvas doors on them, if any doors at all, or very thin metal, okay? And Operation Desert Shield turned into Operation Desert Storm, that the enemy saw the vulnerability of an unprepared military and started basically throwing hand grenades, if you will, to kill GIs, to kill our soldiers because they had no protection. Very little armor for their bodies, very little armor for their vehicles. So then what do? We call it up-armoring. We up-armored the Humvees, okay? So what did the enemy do? The enemy made bigger bombs. The enemy, the IED was to the point of tremendous amount of explosives being used. If you ever see the movie Hurt Locker, it's a great example of what the destruction that they can do. But that's the way the enemy works. So as the enemy's testing our borders, testing France and Europe, because of their stupidity, allowing people into their country that hate them, allowing people into their country that culturally are the polar opposite of their society. Well, used to be. Now their society is so dysfunctional that I don't think they know which end is up. And that is what's going to happen in the United States of America, folks, if we do not get a hold of who is coming into our country. Into this, we are under attack right now. Make no mistake, these military age men coming across the border by themselves with a backpack and nothing else and a cell phone and directions of where to go. And they're infiltrating this country, and they will be activated at some point, and that's dangerous, extremely dangerous to the republic. And then you're really going to be happy that you have the right to bear arms. Because that's what makes us a dangerous society to attack, folks. What makes us a very, very hard country to conquer is the capability of the average citizen to have high-powered firearms to battle against the enemy, whether they're crashing the shores or whether they infiltrate like they're doing right now with very pathetic leadership. So that's why you're seeing it took 45,000 plus combat-looking police officers with armored vehicles to quelch the riots and the uprising in France. And the next time it's going to take even more. And the next time it's going to take even more. In the same way, look at the military, what they had to develop, the type of armor personnel vehicles and the money that had to be spent just to defend against the offense of the enemy. And we're constantly on the defense. We're reacting to what they're doing. And that puts us in a very weak and very expensive position. We must be on the offense, folks. General Patton was right, okay? General Patton, for those that are just too young to understand even who General Patton was, just Google his name. And maybe the revisionists have made him some horrible human being because he slapped a couple soldiers, but I digress. He wanted to go into Moscow and take the Russians out because he believed we possibly couldn't fight the wrong enemy, or we needed to go after the other enemy that is going to be very destructive to liberty. And he was right, Russia. You see what Russia's doing in Ukraine. You can see what happened in the Cold War. You can see what they're doing with China. They taught China how to have a very violent and militarized communism. People argue that, well, Russia is not really communist. Please, I don't want to hear it. It doesn't matter what we think that they are. Go by their actions. I don't care what you title them. I don't care what you title Putin, the KGB operative. He'd kill you and me and sleep like a baby. All right? So we have to understand that the enemy is getting stronger because it's taking more and more for us to quelch what they're doing. The violence that they're doing, because we're allowing them to metastasize in our societies in the West. This is dangerous. So you can see what's going on in Europe, and you can see who's doing it, but it's hard to find the facts and the truth. You got to dig, folks. You got to dig. You go to craigbouchon.com, okay? You go to Spreely. You check out those of us that are doing our best to bring you the facts, to bring you what's going on. And the only way we're going to beat this, folks, is by uniting. There's no other way to do it. We live in a republic, not a democracy. Democracy is what you're seeing happening and being built all over the world, in Western nations, in Europe, and you can see what it turns into, okay? We have got to stop that from happening in this country. Folks, stay tuned. We got a big show today. We have a big 4th of July show tomorrow, and God bless. Stay tuned.